Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome to this catch-up session for the Commonwealth Scholarship Applications, Masters and PhD. So today's session, like our previous session, will be a Q&A. So before we get started, just if you're with us on this live, just go into the comment section, put your name and where you're joining us from. Just your country is okay. So you can just put Ambuchi from Nigeria, or I'm Ejiro from United Kingdom, and then let us know that you're with us, and then you can prepare your questions. So you can pop your questions in the comment section as well, and as we go through the comments, we will try to answer your questions as much as possible. So let me introduce myself. I am Onyebuchi Abwanike. I'm a master's student at the University of Leeds, Commonwealth Shared Scholar, and with me on this call are a bunch of other scholars, both from the master's and the PhD as well. So I will allow my fellow scholars to introduce themselves. Ladies first, so I'll allow Ejiro to introduce herself first.
Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Ejiro Matule Koko. Um, University of Leeds, Transport Planning, Commonwealth School, of course. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Mabel.
I think you're
Hello,
mute.
hello, Mabel. We can't hear you. I think your microphone is off.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mabel. I'm from Zambia and a Commonwealth Master's Scholars. I was at University of Leeds.
Thank you. Next, we have Jibola.
Hi everyone, I'm Ajibola Yebambiji. I'm a Commonwealth Scholarship PhD student at the University of Portsmouth. Thank you.
Thank you. Charity.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Charity. I am a Commonwealth Scholarship awardee at Brunel University, London. I'm doing my doctoral research in public health and health promotion research. Thank you.
Okay. Next, we have Francis.
Hello, everyone. I'm Francis Ayomo. I'm a Commonwealth Scholar at the University of Oxford, and I'm doing a DPhil in primary healthcare. Happy to be here.
Okay. And last but not the least is my lovely co-host, Chisom.
Hi everyone, my name is Chisom Sherimekon, and I'm a PhD Commonwealth scholar. I wasn't sure to say or was. Okay, 2021 scholar. Let me use that, and still doing my PhD um in Germany. I'm also a DRD scholar, so nice to be here.
Okay, thank you, everyone. I can see we have a lot of people joining from the comments already. You're all very welcome. So, I would have said how we are finding the application because we have few days to the end. But I understand the way the process is. There's always a lot of pressure. There's always a lot of things. You feel excited, you feel anxious, you feel nervous, but all those emotions are perfectly normal. So we are here today to try to help you with any difficulties you're having with your application. So we won't be going into deep details into the application process because we've had a previous session on that. So there's been one previous session on the Commonwealth Scholarship in general, and there's another previous session on just the PhD for specifics to the PhD application. We've also had a previous Q&A session, I think about 2 weeks ago. All of them are available on the YouTube channel where we are streaming this from. So if you have not been to any of those sessions and you need in-depth knowledge of what is going on, you may want to refer to that in these last days. Today's session will be just about answering brief questions on few technicalities that are going on with your applications. So you can start putting your questions in the comments section. As soon as we are ready, we'll start taking the questions. So let me just briefly say that if you've come this far, you've started your application, you've been through the process, I want to say well done to you. It's not easy. all of us here have been through the process and the rigors, and and the high blood pressure that comes with it and all that. And it's also not impossible. So I want you to also have confidence in your application and have a lot of confidence in your essays. I think in the last session, a lot of people are talking about a scholar reviewing their essays or not, and we had a mix of people who previous scholars did review and did not review their essays, and we're all here as scholars today. So you can always get it even with or without a review, but always try to make sure that what you give someone, it mustn't be a previous scholar, because scholars are usually busy with their studies, but you can give someone your essay to read, try to give you a few pointers, make sure that your writing is clear and understandable and simple. So uh if anyone else wants to say something before we move into the questions, I think there's room for that.
I think I would like to add something. Apart from re-emphasizing that it's really important for you to like give someone to review your application, your statements and essays that you've written, there is another thing that we generally tend to overlook. We tend to belittle some of the experiences that we have, and those experiences really matter. I remember during my own application, my when I gave one of my senior colleagues, a professor, to read through what I had written, she actually brought it to my notice that there were a lot of experiences I had that I didn't include in any of the essays. Little things like helping others, organizing tutorial sessions for other students. We tend to belittle them, but those things are part of what shows that you are a responsible person, that you would be worthwhile to get that the Commonwealth scholarship, and that you would actually eventually give back to the society. It shows that right from where you are, your stage in life, you're already doing as much as you can to give back to the society. And that's one key thing that I believe that CSE looks out for in potential candidates. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jibola. That's a very, very important point. Never belittle any experience that you've had, any little thing that you think you've done, no matter how little you may think it is. They are not really after the magnitude of what you've done, but they are after the impact behind what you've done and the skills that you pick up while you do what you do. So even if you've just helped one or two people with something, there's some skill that comes with that. And in a well-written essay, that skill can be properly emphasized and magnified to be what it actually is. Because Rome wasn't built in a day, so the little things we do always matter. I think we'll dive straight into the questions. If we do, we have any questions in the comment section yet? Okay, so we have one question from Clemens on references. Is there any harm to have 2 academic references and 1 professional reference? Does anyone want to take this question?
If you don't mind, let me just say this. So there's one thing I think we emphasized in the last webinar. It's going to be funny, but is the word, or rather the letter READ. Read the instruction. And what does it say? I think it says at the 2 references, either professional or academics, and 1 personal, right? If I'm not mistaken, that is what they normally say. I don't know if I'm wrong. So I think if there's an instruction, then you should at least try your best to adhere to it. So someone else can add to that if you want to.
Can I
Okay,
come in?
so Charity, you want to say something?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Ejiro. Like she rightly said, read. But the person, Clemens, has actually done the right thing, because you are either to go for academic and or professional references. The CSC would accept those. And in my case, I used just 1 academic reference and 2 professional reference, because majority of my research background was not academic based. It was more work based, professionally based, not within a research or an academic institution. So yes, 2 academic and 1 professional would definitely work. In my case, 1 academic, 2 professional also worked for me. So you're on track. But read, like soon to be Dr. Ejiro said, please read the instructions.
Yeah, so I think I'll just finalize by saying once the instruction has not put any barrier, once the instruction has not put any barrier in front of you, the full essence of the reference is for someone to stand for you. So a personal reference can come from your lecturer as well. It just depends on the relationship you have with the person and the content of the reference letter. So I think the content is even more important than, because when you say an academic reference letter, someone who works as a as a junior lecturer in a university, when he presents the letter of the HOD, will you call that an academic or a professional? So there's some fluidity in it. But the most important thing is look at what the instruction says. If the instruction has not said that expressly, you must have one of this, you must have one of that, you must have three of this, you must have two of that, then there's really no barrier to it. And I also want to point out that on the form is also stated that your application requires at least two references, because I know someone has also asked me previously about having an issue with a third reference. So they ask for three, they require a minimum of two. If you have two, that are good to go. So if you have one professional and one academic and you're trying to find what to use as the third one, it may not really be a strong issue so far as the application instruction has not said anything about it. So I think that's that for that question. I think we can move to the next question. Hello, do we have any other questions? Okay, I see another question from Gift. If I submit my CSC application before the deadline, is it possible to edit my application before the deadline? Used to be possible last time I applied in 2019/2020, PhD applicant. Okay. Does anyone have experience with this?
Well, for me, as at then when I applied, it was possible. So, like Ejiro said earlier, reading, and reading the instructions is key. No matter what, you really need to read and understand what the instructions say. Otherwise, from my own previous experience, I used to edit even till the last hour, because there will always be something that will come up. There will always be like little feedback that even you would give yourself on what you have done, on what you have written. And one thing I did then was whenever I edited my application, I always made sure that a new copy was sent to the body that was going to sponsor me and the people I used as my references, so that they don't get caught unawares. So if you are editing, as much as you are editing, if it's still possible, then at least just try and ensure that each of them also gets a copy of your new application, so they know what they are going to write when they get their own prompts to do the same.
Okay, thank you. I think I'll
Well,
also
well,
say,
my
okay, Francis, you want to say something? Go ahead.
yeah. So during my time, I never tried to edit because I felt, what if there's a risk of me not being able to edit again? So what I did was get the whole questions out of the platform and worked on my application on my laptop. And when I was satisfied, maybe a day to the deadline or hours as the case may be, I just did copy paste, and I'm sure I'm sending the final version. If you can do that, in my view, it's a little safer just in case you are not able to edit. And then to avoid any mix up of multiple versions getting to your nominating agency or the CSC. Again, but it depends on what works for you. But sometimes I did it, I just walked offline. And when I was ready, okay, I think I finalized what I want to do. I just went in and put everything, and by the time I click submit, I didn't look back again. So it depends on what works for you.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, what
exactly.
Francis said was also what I did. So I just worked on a single Word document. So everyone that corrected my essay worked on that same document. I was ready to submit. I just copied, pasted, and submitted. So I wasn't sure if editing was possible or not because I didn't explore the options of editing. So if you are scared, well, just submit the best version you have in case if you are not able to submit, if to edit.
Yeah. So I also like to say, please don't wait to the last hour or the last minute.
The last day.
There's there's a risk involved in that, in the sense of traffic on the site. But I also want to say this: we are all here. We are former scholars, which means we applied in previous years, and sometimes a little technicalities about the applications procedure changes.
Changes everywhere.
And the truth is, whoever is applying this year will be in a better position to know what's happening on the website than we that have applied before, because we don't work for CSC, so we don't know whether they've made any changes from their end. And I've only gone to look at the form once because someone asked me a question that I just had to go and explore. And I'm sure some scholars here have not even gone to look at the form at all. But the point is, if your problem is about the technicality on the form, it's best to read the instructions. If you are not sure and you want to get first-hand information on something about the website and the application form, you can send CSA an email. They will respond to you. You can ask them directly, is it possible to do this? And they will respond yes or no. But I would also go with Francis' suggestion that says err on the side of caution. If you can do everything offline and then later copy paste upload, but maybe you've done copy paste, you uploaded, and you want to try to make a change, maybe a last minute important slight change, you can check if it works. But to be sincere, I cannot say for certain that it does. Yeah. Okay, so we're still having people joining the call and we still have questions coming in. So you can still keep your questions coming in. We'll try to take as many as we can tonight. And I think there's also another session tomorrow. So maybe I should also mention that tomorrow afternoon for those who may want to join that one as well. And that's also for people that have issues with the time difference and the timing, because this is a Friday evening for where I am. I don't know what the time may be where you are. So next question, please. Yeah, I want to ask about the proposed university. I did not contact any proposed university. Will it affect my application? What do I write on that part? Okay. So
MSc or PhD?
yeah, so this is a very important question, whether it's an MSc or PhD application. So let me answer from an MSc perspective, and then I'll allow someone else to answer from a PhD perspective. So this to me like looks like an MSc question though. So for
Yeah.
the MSc perspective, you do not need to have applied to the master's course before you fill out the CSE application. The CSE is well aware that the application opens far before many universities' admission process formally begins. But there's a part of the form that asks you what level of contact you've had with your target school. And the easiest thing to do is to be sincere, but also be how do I say this? Be smart with the kind of answers you put there. If you are sure that the university application process has not started, you can state that the university application process yet to start. I'm preparing my application to apply for them. If you've applied to any of them, you can put that there as well. If you are deferring an offer from any of them, you can equally put that in that part. But if you've not contacted your university yet, you can state that the university application is not yet on. However, if the university application is on now, you can also write that your application is ongoing with them. But I would also advise you to check the university website to be sure that the course you are putting in your essay is being offered this year, because sometimes some universities do not offer some courses every year. So it's important that you also check and make sure that the year 23-24, sorry, 24-25, where you'll be taking up the course, that particular course you're applying for is available, so that you don't run into the problem of having a course that is not applicable in your application essays. So from the PhD perspective, I'll allow my senior colleagues to shed some light on that part.
Well, from PhD perspective, I don't think there's anyhow you can complete your application successfully without getting in touch with either a supervisor or the university. So, of course, your proposed supervisor will write a support letter for you, and you would have discussed your proposed research. So, I think it's impossible to apply without getting in touch, or someone else can also um, say what they think about the question being a PhD student's question.
Okay. I see Charity is smiling. I think she has something to say.
smiling
Okay.
because what she said is
I-
true because it's almost impossible. Like it's impossible. It has to be an MSc. I can't see it being a PhD application because in the first instance, applying to the school, you must at least within the UK for a PhD, you would have gotten consent from a supervisor that would have agreed to supervise you. So you state that during the application process as well. List the name of the supervisor in your um, CSE application as well. So I agree. It's not in the case.
Okay. What of a
So
situation
just to
where,
add,
sorry,
okay.
let me try to throw this point in so that maybe we can get more information flowing. A situation where you've contacted the supervisor, you've discussed, you've had that, but you've not gotten formal admission from the school. Let's look at it from that perspective. Maybe you don't have a formal document from the university, but you have approval from the supervisor because you've been talking to him one on one.
So maybe just okay, Charity, continue.
Okay, I was the one talking from my own experience. I
Sorry.
didn't even know I had to get admission from the school. It was after I got the award. They now told me that I have to provide the admission letter. I started trying to apply to the school and all. So my application was successful even without applying to the university. Just talking with my supervisor and format and preparing a proposal and approving the proposal.
Okay. Francis?
Okay, so I think just as she said, it's important to not nobody should be discouraged if they don't have admission. I know that even for PhDs, the form now creates an option where they ask you to upload admission letter. If you do, if you don't have admission letter, it won't affect your chances. Just like was said, most of us didn't have admission letter when we applied, but you need to contact a supervisor. So if you don't have admission letter, don't be discouraged. Just apply when they at that space where you should upload admission letter, just leave it blank because you don't. But it's important, like was said earlier, that you show that you've made contact with the university because there's a section where they're going to ask you if you've met your supervisor, what was the discussion you had, and of course they're expecting the supervisor to write in support of you. But they also ask what contact have you made with the university. So, like was said, it's good that you say something that shows you're a serious candidate. Because if your response is just no contact, and somebody says, "Oh, I've emailed the admissions team, I've spoken to them, I've checked the website, I've seen that I meet the conditions, I'm already preparing my application," and you just leave it blank or say, "I've not made any effort." If you get a CB, they might not, I don't know. So it's better, in as much as it's good to be honest, you can write that I'm going to contact the school or I've contacted the school and quickly do that. There's nothing wrong in sending a quick email to the school, if you get what I mean, and write it there so it's acknowledged that you're a serious candidate. So that's it.
Yeah.
I
I
think
think
I
some
would
I
just
think
like to, sorry, I would just
yeah,
like to
let
reiterate.
me just say something.
Okay.
Sorry, Ajib. I think something just came to mind. I think there are some universities that also require that when you make an application to CSC, you inform them that you're applying for CSC. So I think that's also something to take into consideration if that is one of the requirements for your school. I don't know. I know that some universities have something like that, that when you're applying for admission, you should state that you've applied for a CSC scholarship or something like that. So it's a rare case, I think, but if you are applying to one of those schools, it will be very, very important for you to take note of that. So Ajibola, you can go ahead.
I was just simply going to reiterate what Francis said. Like with UK schools, there's absolutely no problem with sending a quick email, trying to get in touch as quickly as possible, even within the short time that you have for your CSC application. So if you've seen that you've got a pending case or something that would normally knock you out of the game, it won't take you anything to just take a couple of minutes and just send an email to fulfill all righteousness for that particular part, then blow it up in your essay writing that, oh, I've done this, I've done that already. So it's really no big deal. We just need to prepare our mind for success.
Yeah, thank you. I like the last line. You have to prepare your mind for success. Yeah, I think we'll move to the next question now. I have received a conditional offer in the University of Birmingham in transport planning, but I'm still awaiting for University of Leeds. I'm still waiting for University of Leeds, which was my first choice, but the university hasn't sent an offer. Do I just put the University of Birmingham professors only or both? Hmm. I'm guessing this is talking about the content of the essay when you're writing about your choice universities. Um. Well, personally,
It's my school.
it's
It's
a
my
tricky,
school.
it's a tricky question. But let me say this: if you have a first choice, second choice, and third choice, and you've ranked it in that order, and that is your personal preference, I think you should write your essay with that because uh you haven't gotten an offer from Leeds, like we've answered in the previous question. The admission offer is not a barrier for any part of the application. So that your first choice hasn't given you an offer, but your second choice has given you an offer, or your third choice has given you an offer, doesn't mean you should rearrange the order of your preference because it's not going to affect your application. The order of preference does not affect your application. Now, I'm saying this because when you're writing that essay about your choices, you're basically trying to tell them why you've chosen this. And if you felt that one university's course is better than the other, I feel it would be easier for you to write about that as your first choice because you should always lay more emphasis on the first choice and then justify the second and third choice. So I want to do this, but if this doesn't work, I can fall back on this and this because they are also good options. I think that's the tone of that essay. So if you now want to switch and put your second choice up and bring your third choice down, I think from a personal point of view, if you're writing that essay, it becomes tricky because maybe all the juicy things that have attracted you to the course are now in the second choice bracket, in the second choice box, and then you would now have to try to compensate for that by bringing the second choice to the first choice. So if you've seen your attractors in the first choice, it will be much easier for you to write about it as your first choice and then justify the other two. I don't know if anyone has anything else to say, but that's how I feel about it.
A contrary opinion.
Oh no, it's allowed. It's
Yeah, go
allowed.
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
As much as I enjoy taking risk, I still like to edge sometimes on the side of caution. You know, I would rather go for the one I already have the admission. Like when I was doing my own application, I think I already had like two or three admissions already, and I had two other ones that I actually wanted. I thought I preferred them to where I am presently, but I would rather go for a bird in hand than millions in the bush. So, in my own opinion, I would prefer that one which you already have the admission should just come first. You would always find things about that university, about that course there that would like blow your mind one way or the other. Just do a simple Google search. What are the specific what are the uniqueness about this university? Well, what do they offer that would make it like stand out as a choice? Those are the things that you blow up in your essay part for that school. And those are some of the things that might even trigger your interest eventually in that particular university, in the way they deliver the course there, and maybe in the city itself. The ones that I know I do not have the admission yet, yeah, second could be second because moreover, you still need, if it's a PhD admission, you still need like your supervisors to also put in a letter of is it approval or support letters. I would rather go for the ones that have already given me the admission to and expect them to give me good recommendations than the one that has not even approved it yet, even when the supervisors have told me that yes, they want me. So it's just a difference of opinion in that case.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. So I think the summary is it still depends on the candidate. Yeah. Do is just yeah is your application, yeah. So like I said, I've given my opinion, she has given hers. It's two contrary opinions, but both of them are correct because both of them work. So I would say research the University of Birmingham that you've gotten a conditional offer. Make sure that this is conditional, so make sure that you meet the condition. If the condition is financial, then that's already you're already okay because CSC accepts any admission with a financial condition as an unconditional offer. Then also, I actually like what Ajibola said. Explore the University of Birmingham course. It might be more interesting to you than the one at Leeds. So once you are convinced that this is what you want to do, then you write about it.
Yeah, I think there's a follow up to that question.
Okay, there's a follow up. Since in the University of Birmingham, I was provided with two supervisors and they both provided supporting statements. Okay, this is two
So just to
supervisors
come
supporting
in,
statements.
uh,
Yeah.
so just to come in, well, again, it's nice for us to defer, and like you said, it depends on the candidate, on the person applying. For the fact that you have enough time to still apply and chase these schools, it's not like you've applied and they bounced your application. I would still say there's a reason why your first choice was your first choice. And now, from my experience, I don't think the CSC looks at the course, the universities per se, to decide whether they give you the scholarship or not. It's now left for you. They assume that whichever school you choose as first choice is the one you want to go to. But of course, by chance, it's possible your first choice didn't give you admission, and it's the second choice that gave you admission. And provided you bring a admission from any of your three choices, and if it's for PhD, like in your case, and you have a supervisor there that they can contact and work with, they'll go with that. So again, it's a personal choice, but I would say go. There was a reason why you chose your first choice as your first choice. So leave it there. Even if the other school everything seems to be working for the other school, that's fine. If eventually it doesn't work and you get the scholarship, when they say, okay, send us, I think if I'm not mistaken, the question usually is send us admission letter from the university that you want to go to, something like that. I'm not sure if they will not say send from your first choice. But I think even if they do, you just tell them, well, that particular university, I didn't get admission, but I have from one of the other two. And I think that would still be fine. So again, in my opinion would be, there's a reason why it was your first choice. Don't just jettison it because maybe now the university is not yet responsive with admission, or even supervisors are not yet responsive. I don't know, but what I also think. So in your case, yes, there's a strong case for you to have University of Birmingham as one of your choices, but it mustn't be your first choice, even if things seem to be happening faster there. But it's your personal choice. So sorry, Ajibola, we are disagreeing on this one.
Yeah.
Yes, very much.
Yeah, it's very good. I think the summary of this, the answer to this question is that the ranking of your choices does not affect your application. It is the quality of the application itself that affects. So I know someone that is on the CSC scholarship on the third choice because I think the second choice they didn't offer that course that year. They said they were going to offer it, and then as September was approaching, they said they will now offer it only in January. And the CSC doesn't do January start for MSc, so that the second choice was dropped, and then the first choice there was, I think the person preferred the third choice to the first choice at the end of the day or something like that. But the point is, any of those three choices you put there does not really affect the outcome of your application. The only thing that you should not be concerned about is which of them can you write properly about when you're talking about the university and the course. And obviously there must be something that attracted you to the three choices. I would also discourage people from putting a choice that is just nominal. You just feel this university there because they said it must be three choices. Please don't do that. Make sure your three choices are three choices that you are comfortable with. Anyone that if you eventually decide to study at, or that if any situation comes up, make sure that you are comfortable to study in any of the three choices. If you've not found a second or a third choice that suits you, continue looking, even though the time for the application is fast approaching, but try to find something that you think you can work with. Yeah. So I think we've said a lot around that. I don't know if anybody wants to add anything before we move to the next question.
I just want to say this because I'm looking at all the platforms, LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube, and we have different audiences there. So I want to say shout out to our LinkedIn audience, we can see you. To our Facebook audience, we can see you. And of course, the YouTube, we can see you. So do well to drop your name and so we can say hi to you. I know that, yes, you're part of us because we can see all of you. Okay, Buchi, over to you.
Okay. Yeah. So we are seeing questions from LinkedIn, we're seeing questions from YouTube, we're seeing questions from Facebook. So wherever you are, just drop your question in and we'll get to it as we go through the list of questions. So the next question is, do you have to submit the application to the nominating agency, who will in turn forward your application to CSC, or you submit application both to the CSC and nominating agency? Very technical question. And I do not think there's any straightforward answer to this question. But the real answer is it depends on the nominating agency. First of all, you must submit an application to CSC. I think that one is non-contestable. You must submit an application to CSC using their website and their online form. The requirements for nominating agency differs depending on which nominating agency you are going for. So it will be good to look at your nominating agency and their criteria. I know some nominating agencies just you don't need to do anything. Once you filled their name on the CSC form, automatically they get a copy of your application to CSC, and then they can decide to nominate you or not. Some agencies just require you to get a PDF printout of what you've submitted to CSC and send to them, and then they can decide to nominate you or not. Some nominating agencies require you to submit a whole separate application to them, go through an interview process, go through a series of criteria before you meet up, and then they can now decide to nominate you or not. So you should, if you're choosing a nominating agency, please go and research the nominating agency, find out how they are nominating this year, because criteria to nominate last year might be different from criteria to nominate this year. So you should really look at the nominating agency. And because this is a mix of different scholars, some of us came through different nominating agencies. So we can't give a uniform answer, but I think the most general answer would be go to your nominating agency and find out how they are nominating, and then follow that process to the letter. Yeah. I don't know if anyone wants to add anything extra to that.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
this.
just okay. Okay,
Okay, Francis, go ahead.
okay.
We'll come
So
back
I
to
just
Ejiro.
wanted to. Okay, Ejiro, see how he's pushing you by the side, man. No deal. Anyway, I think usually what I think happens is that when you submit to the CSC, before you submit, you are going to click choose your nominating agency. That means that whichever nominating agency you choose will have access to your application. So they can go through your application, the particular nominating agency that you choose. And when they make up their mind that we want to nominate this candidate, they now forward your application as a nominated candidate to the CSC. Then the CSC reviews your application. So if you are not nominated, your application, though submitted on the CSC portal, your application does not get read by the man in London, as I usually joke about it. So what I would, just like was said, it's important that you go and check what is my nominating agency's conditions, so that if you need to follow up with them separately, some nominating agencies will say send your transcript, write a special essay for us, and they even do an interview for you separately. But they already have your CSC application. Once you submit, they have that on their own end. But whatever conditions they said, they will use that to decide for themselves if they want to nominate you. And then when they agree that they are nominating you, they will now forward your application to the CSC for CSC to now do a second layer of review. So it doesn't go directly to the CSC. It passes through your nominating agency, and they are the ones that now forward the people that they feel should be considered for the next layer of review before finalists are chosen. So I don't know if that helps. So it's like a two-way thing. You submit on the CSC portal, it goes to your nominating agency, they review based on their conditions, make up their mind. If they agree, they push you to the next level. Then the CSC does the final review, and if it's your year, then they pick you and you get an email and the due time.
Yeah. Ejiro, you wanted to say something earlier.
Yeah, my is smiling. You know what I want to say, right? My own is simple. READ. Read. What are you reading? The website, nominating agency website. What are they saying? If you don't read, how will you know? So it's read. I'm sorry. I just have to say that. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Now you know
I'm
why you
sorry,
came. Now you know why you came later.
sorry, please, can I just chip in one more thing about the nominating agencies? For me, I had applied for Commonwealth scholarship several times before I eventually got it, but I kept using like the same nominating agency. So I think sometimes we overlook some agencies. people should. I would like to suggest to those on this live session to please check out other nominating agencies. Don't get stuck up on the popular one or the one that you've always heard about or the ones that are common. Look for other ones that you fit their criteria, and then reach out to them. Maybe email, check their website. What do they really need? What would make you eligible for them to even nominate you in the first instance and all that? We need to look beyond the popular ones or the ones that seem to be at the forefront and all that.
I'm sorry, just to add to what Ajibola said, I love the fact you said they should explore other agency, but how can they explore that? By reading. Read. I'm sorry, but it's very important. It might look like a joke, but it's important. Seriously, it is. So,
Yeah.
sorry, I
Thank
missed
you.
it.
Thank you
So
for
I
that
wanted,
important
okay, I
point,
wanted to
Ejiro.
quickly chip in. I wanted to
Yeah.
quickly chip in. The nomination, in my opinion, is one of the most important parts of this application. Because if you are not nominated, your scholarship has ended at that level. So you need to take that nominating agency very seriously, because that is the first and most important layer of competition. Because 5,000 people apply, only 200 will be nominated, out of which 50 will be picked. So you see that it's the nomination that the first layer of competition is very stiff. So depending on your country, maybe go through, just like Ejiro said, check and see which nominating agency may I have an advantage. It's very important because there's competition. If you see one where you think everybody fits in, maybe that's not the one for you, because that means the competition is going to be higher there. So for example, from Nigeria, there are some nominating agencies that are just for women. If you have one where you will now exclude all the men, maybe there may be a better chance for you. Again, I'm not saying. There are some nominating agencies that are just for persons with disability. What are we talking about? That singles you out in a particular group where you don't need to compete with the crowd. For those that are in academia, some of their universities are nominating agencies. In fact, that one is almost the easiest, because how many of them in your university or from other universities will apply? So please, I would suggest go back again and look at which nominating agency do I want to choose and what are their conditions. And because if your nominating agency just ends it there, it has ended, or you try again next year. So it's left for you to decide based on your particular circumstance. Thank you.
So I'm sorry, Big Shot. I just wanted to say this. Like, sometimes serve breakfast. I'm sorry. It's funny to charity and Ajay, but I guess are hilarious. I'm sorry. I had to say that. Okay, please go on.
Okay, I
Okay. So
think I think Lillian was saying it during the last session that she applied to several nominating agency. Like she didn't
okay.
just apply
Yeah.
through one.
She
She
did
submitted
multiple
several
applications.
applications. So
Yeah.
if you can submit as many as you can, you never know which one will accept you, and then you are free to cancel every other one
Please,
once
sorry.
one of them
Then
nominates.
breakfast.
So please, let's move to the next question. Okay,
Sorry,
Mabel, you
before.
want to say something?
Yes. So even for me, I tried with one nominating agency, and it's like there was some miscommunication with the people there. So I noticed that I might not be nominated via that route. So I used a different nominating agency, and I was nominated for the scholarship. So don't just fix your eyes on one thing, explore other options as well.
Very, very important.
It's good you dodged the bullet.
Okay, let's move to the next question from Harold. Towards the end, one is asked to attach admission offers. Tried to reach universities I chose. Even I asked for any evidence to show that I applied, but looks like it will take time. Can I submit without? Yes. I think the short answer is yes. Like I said before, they always ask for uh, proof that you've reached out to the university. If you have the attached admission offers, I'm sure that's not a compulsory question on the form. It's always if you have, attach. If you don't have, then you leave it, like we said before. But if you have, please attach. If you don't have, then in that box, that text box where they ask you what contact have you made with the university, this explain everything that you've done. Use those. There's a word limit for that box. Use all those words properly. Right? extensively so that they know that you've actually. Some universities have started handing out admission for 24-25. Some have not. If you are applying to a university that has not started handing out admission 24-25, you can't have anything to put there at this moment. But you can let them know if you know the date when the admission is opening, you can put it there in the text. I am applying to the University of so and so. Their official application for admission is opening on so and so. I reached out to the application team, and they said this and they said that. Put it all there. It's all part of the evidence that you've done your due diligence, and it might count at some point. Maybe it might not count on the side of CSE, but it might count on the side of your nominating agency. Like we just talked a lot about nominating agencies. You don't know what criteria they may be using to shortlist. So we don't know what happens in the background. We only know what they tell us. But they may see an application like Francis previously said that says no contact with university, and they may see another application that says I have reached out to university of this, and their official application opens on so date. Normal processing time for this is 2 months, so I'm expecting that I'll have my admission letter by so time. I've checked the admission criteria and I fit all the eligibility criteria. Blah, blah, blah. If I'm to choose between these two, maybe they've shortlisted every criteria and it comes down to this last box. Between these two candidates, you are more likely to choose the person that showed what we call proactiveness in the application. So it might be something that you would like to explore. But like I said, an admission offer is not a barrier to submit your application. Anybody want to add anything to that? I think I said a lot there.
No, I just want to say somebody is typing. You can hear your keypad, so just mute if you're not speaking. Yeah. Okay. I think I'm good. I don't know.
So
Anyone?
I think we can move to the next question.
Okay.
Okay, next question. My question is also about references. And sorry, please, it applies to Commonwealth shared. Can I use the same referees I'm planning to use for a school as well for Commonwealth? Simple answer should be yes. It's the same. You have the same referees. When you say plan to use for a school, I'm guessing that means admission to the school, and that should not present any problem with your Commonwealth application. And since you have stated that it's for Commonwealth shared, that application is not yet active, so we don't know if they will ask you to upload references or not when you are doing that application. So this is a preemptive question. But for the current scholarship it shouldn't present any problem, in my opinion. Anybody with a supporting or contrary opinion in the panel?
I agree with you. I don't think it really matters, but probably what you can check is the content of the reference letters. What do they want to get from your referees? That might be different for the scholarship and admission. So just check that and ensure that whatever your referees are writing is answering what the admission team or the scholarship team are looking for.
Yeah, very important point. Very important point. Thank you. Shall we move to the next question? Okay. I am having difficulties with the academic records section of the application. If I tick no for the question of being currently enrolled in a university, it skips the academic records session completely. Okay. I don't really understand what the problem is. So I'm guessing on the form, they always ask whether you are currently enrolled on any program. And I think if you tick yes to that, then they ask you to fill in the details of the program that you're currently on. So I think ticking no will deactivate that box, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't think it's a problem. Francis, you wanted to say something?
No, I just wanted to say exactly what you said. I don't think it's a problem. If you are enrolled, you feel what you are currently doing. But again, you need to be careful about what information you give so it doesn't hamper your chances, because there's a way you say you're currently on a program and you're finishing in 1 year, 6 months time. They'll say, by the time you are finishing, you are supposed to have started Commonwealth, so you won't be available for us. They use that as a disadvantage. So even if you are doing anything now, if you have not finished any program, I would rather don't put it on the academic record. And please, because this happened to some people I know, if you list any program in your academic record, ensure you send a transcript for that program. Because I know someone who, again, from the back end was denied, well, not denied per se, but lost out last minute because he has 2 masters. He was applying for a PhD, put one transcript of a master's he felt was relevant to the PhD. The other masters he felt had no business with the PhD. He didn't put the transcript, but he mentioned it at the list. And they said he didn't provide all the documents needed. And, at the last minute now, they are looking for anything to push you out when the competition is tough. So any school, any qualification you say you have, ensure you put the transcript. You mustn't tell them everything. If you don't want to talk about it, then don't put the transcript. Or if you don't have the transcript, then don't tell them about it to avoid confusion or them having a reason to push you out.
Yeah, thank you.
Just in case, I'm not sure if that question is could be for previous academic records. Maybe there's a technical glitch. Then you might need to email CSC technical team if you are finding it difficult to update your previous academic record. Just in case, if that's what the question was initially proposed for.
Yeah, yeah. So if you're having any technical issues with the form, it's always good to email CSC. I think there's a technical there's an email for if you're having I think it's also on the website as well. If you're having any issues with the form, you should just send them an email, and they are usually very responsive. So as soon as you notice any problem, try to drop them an email so that they can resolve it for you in good time. So I think we'll take the next question now. Good day. Okay, good evening, scholars. Please, if there's a webinar discussing each essay and how best to go about them, I joined this webinar as regards the essays. Okay, so we have done that already. We have a previous session that was done, I think, about a month ago, that talked about the essays in depth, the application process. We had slides that talked about everything. If you go to this same YouTube channel, you should be able to find that session. But maybe towards the end of this session, we might add links to previous session in the chat. Or is that was on the byline now? Is that was on the byline?
Yeah.
Okay. So on the byline, you can see the link to the first webinar we did that talked about the essays in depth. So you can go and watch. I think it's about 2 to 3 hours long. Very, very much detail was discussed there. So you can have a look at that. So I think we'll move to the next question. Okay. So I also wanted to say something about this webinar now. So like I said before, we've done the first webinar on details of how to apply for the scholarship, and we did a second webinar on question and answers, which was about 2 weeks ago, and we answered a lot of questions on that webinar. I think it was about 2 hours long. So I would implore you, if you've not had a look at those 2 webinars and you're currently on your application, I think it's good that you go back, go through those recorded videos, look through the content that was given there, because like I said, I think I was in the last 2 webinars, so I know that we gave a lot of detail of the content there. So try to go there and look at, listen. It looks long, but try to take your time. You're pursuing a scholarship that is worth thousands of pounds, so you need to be able to invest yourself and your time into the application. So try as much as possible to go back. It's just a few hours. Read, listen through. That one tip that might make a difference to your application might have been mentioned there already. And because this is a Q&A session, we won't go into depths of details of what the essays should look like or what the application should look like, or maybe helpful tips that we gave then. We're just trying to answer people's questions that are struggling with one problem or the other. So I think we are ready to move to the next question. Ejiro, can we have the next question?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, yeah. It's okay. So yeah, so you've seen the links. I think the link is also in the comments, yeah,
Yeah,
for the
yes, yeah.
previous. Yeah, so just go through the comments, get that link, go watch through that. It will be very helpful, I promise you. Even if you've watched it before, watching it a second time might make a difference for you. So we move to the next question. About the CSC, do we really have to gain admission first? And if we need to, how do I go about it? Okay, I think we've answered this question already. So you don't need to gain admission first before applying, but you should try to make contact with the university, check the eligibility criteria, make sure that the course you are looking at is available and stuff like that. You mustn't have admission. But if you can begin your application process, if your university has started, then why not? Because it's basically almost the same documents that you need. So if you can start filling in your university application, I think you can do that. And usually the application is just on the university website. You see a tab that says admissions, and then you just follow the process there, and then you get to the end of the application, and then hopefully you get the admission. So it's not really very technical or difficult. So I don't think it's going to be a problem. So just know, just finish your CSE application because the date is fast approaching. Then you have some universities give admission within a month, 2 months. Some, if it's very long, maybe 3 months. So you have a lot of time between now and September 2024. So that should not be a problem. And I think the scholarship is usually awarded around April, between April and April, May, June. I think that's when they conclude the applications, and that's when they'll ask you if you've gotten admission. So complete this application first, submit your admission. Your admission should be available by the time the application of the scholarship process is coming towards the end. Yeah. So next question, please. Okay, so can I add my research experience as an MSc student as an employment? PhD scholars, can you help us out with this one?
Yeah, I think I don't know, it depends. So, did you work as a research assistant? If you did, then that was an employment. Did you work as anywhere that you're supporting, but your role was researcher? Yeah, many names are called. So, I think if that's your role, of course, the answer is yes. And I think others can add to that too.
And then to do you also have like a contract showing that you were employed for that position too? I think, well, it depends on, because if you have like a former research assistant outside the country, you normally have a contract showing this is what you are doing and all. So if there is a way you can confirm, even if it's not a contract, maybe a letter from your head of department or from your supervisor, like a document to back up that claim as a research assistant, it's always very important. Even if it's not official, maybe a letter or something showing your contribution to the department, then you can add it since it's your work experience or it's a research and work altogether. That's what I think though.
Yeah. But if we're talking about your work as a student towards your degree, I don't think that counts as employment,
Oh,
if I'm
at
correct.
your own work, no,
Yeah,
that
if
would
you're
be
doing your own work towards your own degree, I don't think it counts as employment. But if you are doing work that assists research in an institution, I think that can count as employment if you have the documents to back it up as well.
I have a question. What about people that part of their MS they do internship? And what if the internship was a research-based internship? Is that part of the employment or not?
yeah, internship is an employment because you can't start internship without a
No,
letter
no, no,
certificate.
no, no. There are some courses whereby internship is part of their degree. Without the internship, there's no degree. Do you understand? So in that situation, is that an employment or that's part of the degree? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think I understand what you're saying because I know that in the Shivning application, when they ask you for work experience, they say if there's any work experience that counts as a part of your degree. So if did your undergrad and you had a 6 months industrial training or 6 months internship, and that counted as an award towards your degree, they say they do not recognize that as employment. So I know that that is specified for Shivnin. I don't know if there's anything like that specified for Commonwealth, and I'm not sure if it is stated on the website. But if you have a look at the website, I'm sure you can find guidelines for that. But I think erring on the side of caution, like Ajibola has been pointing out, is always good.
It's a safety
If
proof.
if you are not very sure that you can back up something with evidence, documented evidence, it's always good to stay clear of it.
So what if
Just
you have
like
nothing to replace it? What will you do? You will not do anything at all.
well,
So,
However, I don't think CSE ever ask for documents of your work
I was
experience.
about to, yeah, I was about to ask
ex-
that
So
too. Yeah.
in that way, you could play safe and smart.
yeah.
Well, you never, anyway, you never can tell though.
So
If,
my
So
own
long as
comment
you're
would
able
be
to
that
get
I
a
agree
reference
with.
later, at
okay,
least
I
maybe
think
like a letter. Sorry, boss.
yeah,
As long as you'll be able to get maybe a letter from the direct maybe lecturer or person that supervises that, oh, this person was part, like for example for me, I do it for some of my students, like we I used to use some of them for field work and all that. So
surveys and stuff like that.
and surveys and all that. So whenever they have some applications, I actually put it in there that they've worked as field assistants with me or research assistants with me. So if you know you will be able to get somebody in authority that will be able to like support you in that way, then you can play safe a bit.
Yeah, Francis, you were saying something before,
Yeah, so I
or
think I think
is that your
Ajibola
point?
has said it before. Yeah, because you are trying to drop as many things as possible that gives you an edge over the other candidate, basically. The CSC, from my experience, has never asked anybody to bring evidence of employment, but though they expect you to be honest, so we won't encourage you to tell lies. But if you have something like Ajibola said, as little as somebody engage you for 2 weeks to go and share out some surveys or help with some data analysis for some work, I think you can state it and then maybe frame it nicely. I work for those organizations. These were my roles. Because, like she said, if they now ask, there's a likelihood that you can go to whoever gave you that role and get some evidence that you did it instead of leaving it blank. Because for some people, they may never have had any major formal research roles, but they've supported in some minor capacities with research in one way or the other. So instead of leaving that column blank, give yourself that extra advantage. It's not just because you don't have research experience totally that they will deny you scholarship, but give yourself that extra edge by stating it. But please try not to tell lies so that in case by chance they suddenly start asking for evidence, at least you can reach out to Ajibola and say, okay, oh, please write to them that I helped do survey for 2 weeks, and then you now have something to show. So yeah, whatever can sell you, please do it.
Okay, thank you. Very, very important points here. So the important thing is be honest, don't tell lies, but never shoot yourself in the leg. If you've done anything, no matter how small, talk about it. But always, always, always talk about things that can be evidence. Don't talk about things that don't exist. Talk about things that exist, please. Talk about things that exist. You don't need something that's very flashy. You don't need to have worked in the World Health Organization and done one groundbreaking research that has cured malaria in the whole of East Africa before you say you've done something. Even they said even a research work and the output is the result failed. It's still an output. So even if you did the research and you didn't get the desired result, but you still did something and you've added to the body of knowledge, it still works. So try as much as possible to honestly specify what you've done and use it to your advantage. Okay, so we have many thanks for organizing this important webinar from Ibrahim.
I think
You
we
are
have to
welcome.
run very fast because we have a lot of questions. If
Okay, so we've crossed the 1 hour mark, so we'll be moving a bit faster now. Hopefully, some of these questions are repeated questions and we can move faster ahead of them. But let's move to Jane's question. About references and supporting statements, will it be sent to the email listed or is there an option for us to upload them ourselves? Because all my referees and proposed supervisors send those to me. I'm fairly certain that for the MSc form, they've asked you to upload your reference letters. your three reference letters, combine it into one PDF document, and upload. So I don't think this year they may be emailing referees to send references when they've already asked you to upload the reference letters. I'm not 100% sure about this, but I know that on the form there is a box that says you should upload your references as one single document for the MSc. I don't know about the PhD form, but I'm guessing it might also be in the same format where they're asking you to upload the documents. So if you have the documents, please upload. If you don't have the documents, please ask for the document and upload. If they will later on ask the referees to send an email also to confirm, it's better that they have that one and then your referee is sending a confirmation than that you don't have any reference on the portal and then they say this application is incomplete. So I think it's best to upload when the box to upload is available on the form. Any additions before we move on?
I'm just curious why the person asked it is an option to upload. I thought you should go to the form if you're an applicant. And if there's an option, you should know that. So I'm surprised you are asking us if you are actually applying. You should see that information yourself. I think we still fall back to read. When I keep hammering read, people think I'm just joking. It's important. There's some questions that are not questions when you read because you know what to do.
Well, what I'm guessing is that, well, another form of the reading is opening the application and make sure you start from the beginning and read the questions till the very end. Because when you get to the very end, you see how the application goes, if you are to upload or if you are not to upload, or you see what happens up to the point of them asking you to submit. Because if you don't read it to that very end, there's no how you are going to know what it's required of you. And like Gucci says, every year these things change, so you don't know what they'll be asking you. During our own time, our supervisors were the ones that sent it directly to them. So I'm not sure I'm not sure what's required of you, but just go to your application. Make sure you keep clicking next till you get to the very last question and until the point of submit. By that you will know everything about the application.
Yeah, just to add to that, because someone might say, but if I don't put something, it can't move to the next section. Just put anything, put dummies. Just
ABC is
move.
enough.
Just to get the whole idea of what the form is about. Like Francis said, he copies out all the questions and put in what document, then writes. So you need to get to the end. Don't wait till a day because you might not know that you might need something that a day is not enough to get.
And
So put in figures, whatever, just to get to the end of the page and what's it? Take out what you need. And if for any reason you submit mistakenly, I believe you can also do an application, right? So set a new one.
Yeah.
So just I know it's good to play safe, like Ajibola said, play safe, but don't play safe that you now become an hindrance to yourself.
some
Get the
things will
information you need.
So
Yeah.
I think what I did, because like I said, I've gone through the form. What I used to do, or what I did during my own application was, I get there. You see that box where they say put the answer. I used to copy the question from inside and paste inside.
Okay.
Yeah, so that I can be able to click next and move. So when I copy the question out and I paste it in my Microsoft Word document, and then I come back and I paste it in the box and I click next and I move to the next page and I see what's there, up to the point where I got to the last place. Why I'm saying this is because at least if I press submit by mistake, when they see the application, they would see only the questions, and they would know it's an invalid application, and they will trash it, and then they will take the real one later. You can also email them that you mistakenly submitted an application and they can withdraw it for you. So just make sure you get to the end of the form, see everything down to the last detail until you
to
see that
avoid
submit button. Until you see the submit button, the form has not ended, because some people watch videos on YouTube of people that have gone to open the form of 2011. Yeah, I'm serious, because I saw one of that. Someone opened the form of
wow.
2011. I watched it, then I went to do this thing I said and saw that the form was different. That's why I'm saying this now, because I watched that video. Someone was showing this, that he was also doing this thing. This is where I got the idea. He was copying the question and pasting. That's where I got the idea from. So that's how we moved to the end of the form. But when I got to my own form, I noticed that I think one or two aspects were different from what he was showing. And so it's always good to see what this year's form has. Don't always rely on previous knowledge of people that applied 2 years ago or 3 years ago, because the form might not be the same.
Which experience. How many scholarships did you apply for? Because the guy's experienced, like experienced guy.
I'll open one day. You come and see my scholarship folder on my system, and you see all of them. Yeah. So next question. I think there was a question before this one.
Oh,
Yeah, I
okay.
don't think. Yeah, yeah. Does Commonwealth support students with the application fee to the university, or I have to prepare money? Okay. I was discussing this with someone this evening. Actually, I think I think it's safe to say that 95% of universities in the UK do not ask for application fee when you're
Application
applying for
fee.
Yeah,
admission.
I'm kind of
Oh,
surprised. Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
never heard of application fee.
I think I've only heard of one university that asked for an application fee, and I think it was for a course that was either it was not for an MSc course. I think it was for a master's in research, something. It was a course that was there was something affiliated to the cost. I think that's where the application fee came from. Well, most UK universities do not ask for application fee, and CSC is not going to support anybody with application fee if your course requires application fee. So if you don't have the money for application fee and you decide to choose that 1% cost that's active for application fee, it might be good for you to look for another alternative that is free to apply for. Just something to think about. That might also be one of the things that
So
attract you to the course. Yeah,
yeah, so
Francis,
if
go
I
ahead.
may come in here, so I agree that I think close to 95% of the universities don't ask for application fee, but I think a few universities do ask for application fee. And there are two ways, in my opinion, to go about it. At least my university does that. One, there may be an option to apply for an application fee waiver. Of course, it's not open to everybody. You may need to write an essay to justify why you can pay £90 or £50. Things usually between £50 to £100 thereabout as the application fee. And if they agree with you, then they waive it for you. The other option, again, I know it might not be a popular comment, my dear, somebody, whether it's master's or PhD, somebody wants to pay your living allowances and your flight ticket and your tuition fee for 1 year or for 3 years, depending. If you are a strong candidate and you are really optimistic about this scholarship, if you have to borrow money, I know, again, I say, no, I know it's not a popular opinion. If you really want maybe that school or that course, and you believe that that other bigger money will be paid by the Commonwealth, I think if you even do GoFundMe just to raise that money, it will be a worthwhile course if eventually it works out. Instead of going to another school that maybe that was really not your choice. You left the school you wanted just because you were running away from application fee. But again, I know everybody's financial circumstance is different and how you see things may be different. But yes, like he said, Commonwealth doesn't have any business with whatever you're paying for admission. That's your own problem.
Can I speak on that comment? No,
Yeah, go ahead.
that comment might not be well welcome, but at times that's just a thought. It's like a
It's
hard
an
to.
investment.
Yeah, because I remember when I was writing one of my English exam, although I didn't use English exam for this, but I was hoping to go to some schools in the US, and the first time I paid money, I think about 50K or so to someone, the person did not do the registration properly. So that was how my money went. And they were like, oh, sorry, it's not their business because I used an agent. They didn't do it the right way. Then I paid again and I did home based. My goodness, my pen did not work. And he said, once you leave, they'll cancel the exam. My pen did not work. That was how the exam got cancelled. Another 50K went. It was, things were just happening that were not my fault. As in, so I was like, I can't do this anymore. Somebody said to me, yeah, it's painful, unfortunately, but if you end up spending 200K, which is what, because how much was I earning? Is like, if once you get the scholarship, 1 year can wipe away all that thing because your monthly stipend, the accommodation, the whole, even the prestige that comes with the scholarship, you forget about the money you spend. It's painful, but if you want it, you have to do it. If that's the only option you have.
Yeah,
It's
thank you.
painful, honestly, it is.
Um,
An investment.
just a reminder. This is an international audience. So when you say 50K and 200K, it's not pounds. So
50,000 naira, sell it up.
please, before some people become scared that English test is £50,000.
That's why we have many speakers, so there can be a balance. You can, if I
Yes,
say A, you say
please,
B, you balance it
please.
up.
Yes, thank you. Because when you say 50K, I know many people default they'll be checking their home currency, and some people's
Yeah.
currency is different. So please, let's
Okay.
not scare people with those large figures. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just like she said, it's true. You have to invest. Yeah, I didn't pay any application fee to any school in the UK that I applied for, but I paid application fee for schools in other countries because I did many applications before I eventually landed in the UK. And like Francis said, it's an investment. You have to decide whether it is worth the while, and you have to decide whether you want to make that sacrifice, because it's just one of those things. Some people took flights to different places to make applications. Some people did a lot of things. You are here in this webinar is also a sacrifice. Some people are using mobile data that they bought or Wi-Fi or something to try to stream this. All those things are part of the investment that you make in getting to where you want to go, because already the greater cost of what you want to do is already being covered by someone. So you have to try to think about it in that sense. Yeah. So I think I'll allow Chisom to continue with the questions while I just attend to something briefly.
Okay, Buchi, I'll be expecting you back though. So this question is please can one apply for CSC masters and at the same time CSC shared with the same essay? Okay. Based on what we've discussed before, if you listen to the previous sessions, we advise strongly not to use the same essay. And there are several reasons why we advised that you do not use the same essay. You can go back and listen to those informative sessions. The first reason is that using the same essay, um, you are self plagiarizing. That means you're plagiarizing yourself. What you've written before, you're using it again. And the system has a way of detecting plagiarism, and that's already a negative for you. So I'm not sure you want to risk being plagiarized. And then the timeline for CSC and masters and shared, I think they are different. They are not at the same time. So, and we believe that you would have made some progress, if not much, between those two times. So you should be able to improve, get a better version of your essay instead of still submitting the same thing. So these are the two main reasons why we advise people not to use the same essays that they used previously. Who else wants to contribute to the question?
Oh, the question.
So, well, I don't know. It might not be again a popular comment. I agree. There's risk of plagiarism, but when I was applying for my masters, hey, I used the same essays. I didn't. The only it was exactly same. So and well, it pulled through, but there may be. It's possible there's that risk of plagiarism. So if you can make some minor edits, the problem again, I'm speaking from experience, it's difficult for me. This is me speaking now to give my best on the same questions in two different ways. I know it may be applied slightly different for other people, but if I've given you a best version of an essay to a particular question, there may be minor changes I can make. But if it's really a true plagiarism thing, it will still catch it because at least half of it will still be same. So I don't know, but I think there's merit in the plagiarism scare. So it depends on what works for you. But when I did that, well, not too long ago though, but I got away with submitting the same essay. So you can take the risk or you can change the essay. Choice is yours.
Thank you, Francis, for the contribution. Any other person that
No,
has any?
I just want to add that, like, Bachir said, we are not CSC officials, so we are just speaking from our experiences, from what we have done, our opinion. So please, we are not the official people, so just take note of that.
Okay, I guess we've addressed
Disclaimer.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I also want to say something before we move to the next question. Like I said in the last Q&A, when you're applying for CSC Masters and CSC Shared, sometimes the questions might change. So that's also something you need to think about. In the development impact section, it might be exactly the same. But when you go into things like your proposed plan of study or the detailed study plan, because in the masters you've written about three choices, so you're tailoring your essay towards those three choices. But when you're writing about shared, you're writing about just one university and one course. So they are some you have more words to talk about one course, one school, one university, one city. And so if you do copy paste, you might be mentioning University of Birmingham when you're applying for University of Leeds. So also think about that very well. So you may not need to draft a new essay from scratch, but you have to read through again, revisit what you've done, look at the question, look at the situation, look at the context, and match it up. Yeah. So, if sometimes you may feel like it's the same thing, but try to look at it from an outsider's perspective, because the person that read your master's essay is not the same person that read your shared, or might be the same person. So you need to also think about that, because we don't know who's reading it. It's read anonymously. So you don't know. And if the person that read your, if by any virtue the universe decides to send the essay back to the same person, the person will be reading and be thinking, I've read this before. This seems familiar. You understand? And then it begins to, and psychologically, the person is put a little bit off. I'm not saying if it's a very strong essay, obviously it's a strong essay, but you also need to think about the peculiarities of the essays where you need to make changes, where you need your personal statement is something that may just be the same because it's your personal story, you know. But when you look at those 11 essays, there's always something different between the masters and the shared. Try to make sure you spot that difference and make the best of it.
Yeah, is there a way we can run through there are a lot of unattended questions and we are already 90 minutes
Behind.
into the session. Yeah, 90 minutes into we should be wrapping up soon. And whatever is cannot answer can be answered in tomorrow's section. That's fine. So
Okay. Okay. So I will try to be a lot quicker now with the way we answer the questions. Maybe we will be entertaining one or two opinions on each question just so that we can actually get to all the questions. Yeah. So this question says, is the research outline a summary of the research proposal, detailed plan of research? Please share insights for a PhD applicant. PhD applicant, PhD scholars.
yeah, oh yeah, I give all some to Francis, all of them are here.
And you've managed to exclude yourself.
Yeah. So what do you guys think? I know you've not seen the form for this year, but just off the top of your head, what do you think? Because I'm seeing research outline, I'm seeing research proposal, I'm seeing detailed plan of research. So I'm seeing three different terms.
Okay, from my own experience, my research outline is more like a mini abstract. So more like a summary of my research. I think that research outline they also ask you to make it so detailed that a layperson will be able to understand it. I think that's where that question comes in. So my own research outline was an overview of my research and what it's going to do, like the introduction and background, what I'll be doing, and how it will be beneficial before moving to the detailed plan of the research, which includes the background, the research problem, aim, research question, the method, and every other thing. So that was how I wrote my own in 2021. I'm not sure what the portal is saying now, or what they expect you guys to say now, to write now. But that was what I did during my own time.
Okay.
So
Thank you,
I think
Chisom.
for okay, sorry. I think for me that I wrote something similar then, and it's kind of like apart from the introduction or background, like justification for why you even think that research is worth it, and what you would be aiming to achieve after the research before now moving on to the detailed plan.
Okay. Okay. I think that's comprehensive enough. So let me also say that I think every scholar on this call is available to answer questions one on one if you can reach out to them on LinkedIn. So just search for their, you see our names coming up on the screen once in a while. You can just take the scholar's name, go on LinkedIn, connect, send them a DM, and they can give you a personalized answer to your question if you feel that it has not been properly covered here. So let's move to the next question since we are being
Yeah,
time
just to add,
cautious.
yeah, can the speakers please kindly put their name on the chat and their LinkedIn or social media content so people can connect with you on LinkedIn or Twitter or wherever you prefer. That would be great. Just put it on the comment section and I'll display it.
Yeah, thank you. So as we are doing that, let's move to the next question. Um, okay. Please guide me on references. Does my referee put signature on printed letter and then scan and send it to me, or just he just send me the PDF document converted from Word? Hmm. This I don't think we can actually answer this question because we don't know what CS is looking for. But I would say if you know what the proper official document is for the organization where you are getting the reference letter is coming from, because some people have stamp, some people don't have stamp, some people have signature, some people don't have. Yeah, some people use digital signature, some people just write the name. So it really depends on where your reference is coming from. But whatever is standard operating procedure for that institution, fulfill all that criteria and upload. If you ask me, that's what I would say.
I don't think CSA put all this kind of information. Did they asking you for scanned or not scanned? Did they do that?
They
So,
didn't specify. They just said you should upload as a PDF. So I'm guessing it's your referee should type the letter, sign it, scan to
Yes.
you, and then you combine the three reference letters into one PDF document and upload. That's what it should be, I guess. But
Yeah,
like,
whether
but
whether
yeah,
it's scanned or typed, whatever, PDF is what they actually submit. People
yeah.
submit scanned PDF. People submit normal PDF. Let's not complicate matters.
Okay, let me add from my own DRD experience, like they have reference letters they accept. First of all, it has to be signed with a biro or big or an ink. They don't accept electronic signature, and then it has to be stamped. So in that way, that's from what you've asked. That means typing the whatever he or she has to type, then leave the space for signing, write the name and the closing this thing, print it, then sign it with biro, stamp, and then scan and send to you. I think that's more strict, but well, if it's possible, if it's obtainable, why not do it? Why not do it instead of taking the easier way? But if you don't have the opportunity, if you don't have, like, if you can't get the other version, then you can go with what you have. You can go with the easier one. I don't think they lay so much emphasis on the formats of the PDF reference letter.
Okay. Thank
Yeah,
you. Thank you.
that's
So I
pretty
think
much.
we can move to the next question.
Okay, so I need to quickly go back to this. This is a very interesting question.
Okay. Good evening, scholars. Please, my question is that I used ChatGPT while writing my essay, but I have made a lot of corrections in all stages. Hope nothing will affect my chance of being selected.
I don't know why Francis and this man are just smiling. I don't understand why they are smiling the matter. Okay. Okay.
Okay, so I want to say something. I'll try to be very brief with what I'm going to say. Um, Using ChatGPT, sincerely,
Richard, don't briefness.
you don't trust my briefness. I don't really understand the use of ChatGPT to answer the essay questions because, uh, for example, when you have something like the development impact question, it's a very open question. So and if you throw that question into something like ChatGPT, it's going to give you a very vague answer, and then you have to start fine tuning it into what you need and stuff like that. Unless my use of ChatGPT is very limited, but I'm guessing, yeah, I know you can prompt it to give you what you actually want, but at the same time, it's very tricky in I don't see the output. If I'm going to review essays, like I've done some coursework that you have to use ChatGPT and stuff like that. Usually, when you're trying to tell a holistic story, like this like this scholarship application is supposed to be, different prompts going into ChatGPT doesn't link very well, and so I always discourage the use of it. And there's also the thing about the UK now having AI checkers built into their plagiarism checkers, and I guess that might also be used on the essays. So ChatGPT can give you an idea of where to start from, how to structure it, but I will always say write it yourself as much as possible. Let it be you that is coming off the essay, not something artificial. So I think that's as brief as I can be on the topic.
Well, if I can add to it, there are tools to check the AI content of your essay. So if you are scared that it might still your essay might still be reflecting touches of chat GPT, you can use those tools to check your essays and to be sure that it's not the percentage of AI content there is not so high. You can do that to be on a safe side. And well, that's what I have said. You've written the essay, you've written it. If not, at the initial sessions, we told people to avoid Chat GPT as much as possible because people that use Chat GPT, once they see responses that come from Chat GPT, they know. So even without using the AI, but since you've done that already, I don't think anything can be changed. Just try and check the content, the content, and know the percentage before you submit.
Okay. I,
That's
I really need to add, we have 15 questions. I'm counting. We need to really
Oh,
wrap this up and be fast. Yeah.
okay. I think that's that for this question. Unless so, moving to the next question. Good evening, everyone. Does conditional offer mean the same thing as an admission? Conditional offer is the first step towards admission. I think I'll say it that way. When you meet the condition of the offer, then it means you have the admission. But if you do not meet the condition of the offer, it means you don't have the admission. So conditional offer is, like the name says, is conditional.
So maybe I'll just quickly add to that. Conditional offers may mean you need to write IELTS or you need to show that you have money to pay for this course. So if, for example, the condition is IELTS, you need to satisfy that condition before, as at the time, you need an unconditional offer where you've met the IELTS condition before you give the admission letter to CSC. So that the only condition pending is that show us proof of fund for this admission. Then that is the kind of conditional offer you need to get ready. So if there's any other condition the university gives, show English language test, show maybe some professional courses will say do ATL, there's some other courses depending on what you're applying for. Settle those ones. Let the only pending thing be that show us how you will pay for this scholarship. I mean, for this admission. If that's what you have, then for Commonwealth scholarship, that can now be called the conditional offer, where the only condition is funding, and then you can use that when you are selected. That is what they will need. But if you are selected and you send admission letter that still needs IELTS, while a day for you be that too.
Thank you so much. So I think we move to the next question. I have secured a supervisor, gotten my proposal approved, and about getting my offer letter from only one institution. Does that affect my chances? I'd like to say no. Does anybody else want to say something, or is my no enough? Okay, I think my no is enough. So your chances are not affected. You are good to go. Just also follow up with your other choices, but one choice is already okay for you to continue going. Next question. To be sincere, IELTS certificate costs much money. Is there an alternative way? Because every university asks for it. I'm going to say that this comment is uninformed. Every university does not ask for IELTS. It depends on where you're from. It depends on where your background. If you've done an undergraduate in English language, you can use that. You can leverage on that. If you have any English language certificate, that shows that you've, some people even use employment contracts to show that you've worked in an English speaking organization for the past 10 years or for the past 5 years. Some universities accept that. Easiest way, email the university, tell them that you cannot afford IELTS. Tell them that these are, you've been speaking English for the since you were born. You did English in primary school, you did it in secondary school, you did it in the university, you've spoken it for 20 years, you've written exams in English, you've worked in English. Tell them everything. I did something similar and I got my offer without the IELTS. On the other hand, if you can afford it, it's also not bad. They asked if there is any dissertation topic in my mind. Should I worry if I don't? No. You may not have anything particular in mind, but you should have something that you're pursuing. When you write the 4 development impact essays, I think from the content of those 4 essays, you should be able to have a brief outline of something that you want to study. If you've said that this is the problem that you are going to solve, then you can just craft out something out of that and say you're going to focus on this area. You must not have a topic that will be approved by a supervisor on the spot, because eventually even what you put in your CSC application may not eventually be what you end up doing in school. So show that you have a focus and you have something that you are working towards. It must not be a full topic, but have something to show. Yeah. Sorry, I'm rushing through the questions, but I think we have a lot going on. The nominating agencies are always saying they can only nominate people affiliated to them or their mentee. Okay.
For this one, I think it depends on the nominating agency. Like the one which I used, I actually had to sign up and be a member of that organization for them to actually consider me for the Commonwealth scholarship. So it depends. But I think mostly we get scared. So you need to ask them. If you need to get affiliated with them, then do that, because if you just sit back and not do anything, then you're denying yourself the chance at getting a scholarship. So ask them how you can get affiliated and how you can actually apply through that agency.
Yeah, and I think the one for the government, it should be everyone. I think every country should have a government as a nominating body. So I don't think that one need to be a member. Sure, you're already a member. Yes, you're already a citizen. So you're a member. So
But that
yeah,
one is everybody's
every,
question. So if
yeah.
you want to go, if you want to look for something unique, and then their mentee, just look for someone there that you can be their mentee. Fast. They nominate you.
Well,
Now
it's
they
difficult
follow
for
the
some.
nomination. Sorry,
Yeah, for some
Francis.
nominating agencies. Yeah, for some nominating agencies, it can be very tricky. So I think go to their website. If you see that it's too restrictive or you don't fit in, there's nothing you can do. Use the nominating agency that works for you or the public one from your country's government, like we said. So yeah, it's some of them are very, like, I don't want to mention anyone, but there are some that are very tough that if you are not affiliated to, there's one I know that you don't even apply to them directly. They will say they are affiliated organizations are the ones going to recommend you for nomination before they even consider you. So it depends on whichever one you want to use. Just check the conditions and email them early enough.
I want to come from another angle from that. You know, you are right. You said if you read that, you see that it doesn't fit you. But I think this next comment will fit into my own contribution. I think not just read it, email as much as possible, as many of the agency. It just costs you your time. Email them and ask. You might be surprised that they will nominate you. Someone actually got an email. They told her no before, then they told her yes, because they only got male candidate and they needed a female. They just needed one, so they wrote back to her that they will nominate her. So it's funny. So just email. Just Emmanuel said he sent 40. I sent to about 40 agencies. So yeah, I don't know how many
Yeah.
he got back, but
Yeah, no,
that's
I'm a little bit confused when you say 40 nominating agencies under Harley, because I know Harley is one nominating
under
agency.
hand. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
Maybe
so to speak about Harley, since Harley has been mentioned, Hali has affiliates, and the way
Yeah, maybe
Hali
they have
works
to. Okay.
is
Okay,
the
okay,
affiliating bodies or organizations that will send your name for them to consider nominating you. So you, even if you write to Hali direct, they will reply you that you need to go through their agency. So whoever did that,
okay.
kudos that you wrote to 40 affiliates
40
of
flights.
Hali.
Okay,
I'm sure,
okay.
like Ejiro said, you are a superstar. One of them might respond to you if you meet their own individual criteria. It's very tricky because, like, for those in Nigeria, I think there's only one or two organizations associated with Hali. So it's, if you didn't start the journey on time, that last minute you may not be able to meet the criteria for the affiliating body to recognize you and suggest you to Hali. So it can be a little tricky. But again, try your best. But again, if last minute it doesn't work for that nominating agency, then you use the one that every other person uses. But yeah, don't just give up without trying, like Ejiro said. So the guy who sent 40 emails, good job.
Okay. Next question. Um, Hi, I already have an offer of acceptance and accommodation. I have I've been in contact with my university since last year, 2022. Should I
I think this is a correction.
okay. Should I attach both of them on my application to reinforce my application? So, like we said before, if they've asked you to upload an admission, if you have it, why not put it there? The accommodation issue, I don't think it's very important at the moment. I don't think they actually consider accommodation as anything. But if you have documents to prove these things and there's a space for you to upload documents to support your application in any way, especially if you already have the admission letter. So I'm guessing you are talking about a deferred offer now. So if you have a deferred offer and you already have an admission letter that states, why not just upload it since they've already provided a box for you to upload it? Yeah, so I think that's all I have to say on that.
Sorry, so somebody is responding to the issue of academic section about no academic experience or something.
Okay, ticking no skips the academic session entirely. Ticking yes mandates me to fill both the current and previous record.
I think it's
Which
about being enrolled in the course. I think that's what the
okay, yeah,
person
yeah,
is.
yeah, I think. So if you tick no, it skips the whole session. And if you tick yes, you fill both the current and the previous record, which for me is the same. So at this point, I'll call this a technical issue on the side of the form, and I would advise that you email CSC to ask what's happening, or maybe they can clarify more. Because, sincerely speaking, personally, I cannot understand whether it's a problem or whether that's the way they want the form to be designed. Does anyone have any other opinion they want to throw on this?
Well, I think writing CSC it might be too late because next working day is on Monday, and then you can't guarantee a response immediately before you can solve the issue before the deadline. But few both current and previous records.
I
Yeah,
can
since
recommend.
I'm the one, I'll put both current and previous records, which is the same. It's better for you to have all the information there than not to have it at all.
Or
If
better still, sorry, please finish.
go continue,
Or better still, if you know anyone applying, also ask if they are facing the same issue. If they are not, then possibly from your end, maybe you need to start a new application and just don't waste time and see if maybe there was if it works, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
please.
it might be a glitch on your own application. So if you know anybody else, you can connect with other people apply and ask them if they're also facing the same problem. If not, it might be worth deleting this application you've started and opening a fresh one. You might consider that as well. But in any case, if this is what is happening, I would say tick yes, like Chisom said, tick yes. Fill your previous academic record in both fields since it's the same thing. But try to ensure that this is not a specific problem to yourself, that is a general thing, and then try to work on that. You can still send the email, they might reply you before it's time. So you can consider, if I do all the options, do it all. And best of luck, I guess, with the application. But try to contact others, try to contact CSC as well, and see what happens or what comes out of it.
Okay, so we should be able to finish in the next 14 minutes. So we have to wrap it up.
Yeah. So I have only chosen only one university. Should I have to fill all three university space on my application? The answer is yes. If your application has only one university choice, I think it's an incomplete application because they've asked you to choose three universities. So
I don't think, Francis, do you think, did you?
So I'll tend to disagree,
Yeah, I
but
disagree with
it's your
that.
choice.
Yeah.
So if you choose only one, no, voila, that's you're super confident that that university will give you admission and you get a supervisor, or well, if it's a master's, you're sure they'll give you admission. That's fine, except if the portal doesn't allow you to submit, then that means it's compulsory. You have three. But I
Yeah.
don't think that would be a compulsory thing. But I don't know. Why don't you just put two other universities, especially if it's a master's? Come on, put two more universities and just send them application. You have enough time between now and middle of, or maybe at least March next year, to apply to two other schools apart from your first choice. So in my opinion, just choose two others. But yeah, for PhDs it can be tricky, but still there's nothing wrong in putting two other schools and doing the paperwork to get admission there. And if that's the one you present when CSC gives you a place, even if provided the topic is not too different from what you wrote to CSC you want to do, I think you can. It's still useful. So don't be too confident and just go with one.
yeah, okay. So next question is for the PhDs.
Oh,
Just
sorry. Yeah.
yeah. So what if you do not have a supporting letter from a proposed supervisor? That is for someone who has not secured admission yet. So no admission, no supporting letter. What do you have to say?
No supporting letter, no award.
Mm, well,
Because it, the supporting letter is more like a reference
Yeah,
letter,
it's a
but it's
simple thing. So there are two things there. If there is no supporting letter, so
that means your research has not been. I
I
think
think
France.
Francis is having technical issues.
Okay, that means there is no your research has
okay,
not been
can you hear me
discussed
now?
with. Yeah, we can
Okay,
hear
yeah,
you.
you're back with us, yes.
Francis?
Oh, sorry, my network. I guess I didn't even know I was off. So yeah, I think the response, if you don't have a supervisor supporting your application as a PhD applicant, yeah, it will just be thrown away because they would assume when they give you the scholarship, you maybe there will be nobody. They need to be sure somebody has taken responsibility that I'll supervise this person. So I'm not sure what you mean by the second part of the question where you say someone that has not secured admission yet. You don't need admission yet, but you need a letter from a lecturer in that university who has agreed that he'll be your PhD supervisor before, as at the deadline they are giving you to submit that. If you don't have it, then I think your application will be thrown out.
I want to add, if you don't have it, please still apply. And if for any reason maybe you've emailed the supervisor and they've not responded, also put that as evidence that you've contacted someone. So it's better to just shoot your shot than say no because I don't have it, I won't apply. Worst case scenario, you don't get it, but still apply. You never can tell.
Yeah, yeah, I think I agree with that. Even if you don't have it, still complete your application because you may not have it now, but what if your supervisor replies you tomorrow and then you have it? So still go ahead with the application till the last day and still submit it since you've already worked on everything. Still submit it without that. And you see whether a miracle or something can come out of it because you never can tell what's going to happen.
We have
Um,
10 minutes to wrap up.
Amaka from Nigeria, please, how do I make application to the federal government nominating agency? I've already submitted to CSC. Uh, to be sincere to you, right now, I cannot answer this question because I've not done that research. So if anyone in
So,
Nigeria knows about this,
yeah, so I
can
need FS for my PhD. I don't
Yeah,
know what the rule. Oh, Francis, please go on. It's fine. Yeah, please.
okay. Well, so it's simple. Go to Federal Scholarship Board website. They will announce shortly after CSC has closed the application. They will call for people to come to Abuja and they'll tell you the dates you are supposed to come and depending on your geographical region, and they'll give you their conditions. So just keep your eye open on their website and maybe on social media. You will see that call. That's the only way. Just wait for them. When they call, then you will know the conditions. But usually, You will see it if you are keeping your eyes open. That's the only way. You don't need to make an application to them separately. All you need to do is choose them as your nominating agency. If you did that before you submitted, that means you've already made your application to a Federal Scholarship Board. What's left is for you to just wait for when they advertise. Then you go to Abuja, I guess, and attend their interview. So, well, their interview process is another discussion, but there's no time for that. So,
Okay. So the next question says, I've tried messaging some of you, but I am told to use premium, which I guess is paid for. I think this is a LinkedIn problem. So,
No, so I actually put that up. So I think what you should do is just send a connection request, and there's a room for I think 200 characters to write something. So you can just write in the connection request, "Hi, I'm this. I follow your webinar. I want to connect with you." Blah blah blah. So that's simple. You can waste much to do that. Yeah, and thank you,
yeah.
Adibola. I can see you are responding to comments on people's questions. So speakers, you can also respond to people's questions on the comments to save time. That'll be great.
Okay. Thank you. So the next question is saying, is it okay to apply to the same school for both masters and shared scholarships? I think in a nutshell is yes. I know someone that did this and got the scholarship for both, so it doesn't really stop anything. So you can do that. Next question: can one send more than three reference letter, four letters to be specific?
This thing is very serious. Jordan
Mm.
has a lot of referees.
Well, they've asked for three, so I think if you send three, they will take the three. If you send more than three, I think they might discard one, or I don't know. But if I'm to say, if you are sure that the four of them are very good, then you can upload the four of them. If you have three preferential ones and one fourth one that's not very strong, you can decide to exclude that, because the CSC might just pick any three out of the four you upload at random. So be sure that the four of them are worthwhile if you want to upload four, since it's one document you're uploading.
well, I would advise just send three. If I'm the one accessing people and I ask for three, you send four, I may just use that to penalize you. But again, it depends on
Versus
who
your
is
one
doing it.
street reviewer.
Yeah, it's also something to think about, though. If they are looking for what grounds to disqualify, they may say this person doesn't know how to follow instructions. So, yeah. So next question. I know the requirement says a 2-2 is acceptable with masters for a PhD. Do you guys know anyone who had a 2-2 and masters who was picked with a good development impact essay? Uh, I want to say we shouldn't answer this question, because answering this question might be less impactful. Because if we don't know anyone, it will discourage you, and if we know someone, it still doesn't mean that to work for you. So there's no real criteria. But I say, if you have a tutor and a master's, apply. Nothing stops you from applying. Apply. You don't need to know someone. You can be the first, and there's nothing wrong in being the first.
If
Well,
they say
Richie,
it's
let's
possible, it's possible. Apply. Simple.
yeah, it's possible. I had a 2-2, and of course, having a 2-2 is not the best grade, but there are several ways you can make up your academic grades. I've secured several scholarships even with a 2-2. So if you have a 2-2 and you have a good essay, go apply, get the scholarship, even better than, or not better than, but of course, you never can tell what other applicants graduated with. So if that's your grade, you can't change it, but you can change it starting from now. So don't be scared. You can get the scholarship and you can even get much more.
So,
So
Jordan, I didn't know anyone, but now I know someone. You see, it's good to ask a
yeah,
question. I know someone now. Hi, Chisel.
Yeah.
yeah,
Please,
that's it.
let's move to the next
Oh
question.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Same job. Are you allowed to go for second choice university if granted PhD scholarship? Hmm. Well, I know someone that's done this, and I know someone that's had difficulty doing this as well. So
I
it's
know
it's
two
not.
people that it didn't work for them.
Yeah.
They
So it's
didn't
not,
let them
it's a
change.
it's a
Yeah.
it's a yes. It's a very variable thing. It also depends. I think it also depends on the case officer handling it. Sometimes some of them may allow, some may not allow. So there's no standard about it. So if you know the one that you want most, please put it as first choice.
And the one you already have confirmation from the supervisor.
Exactly. So does CSC verify references after an offer in this round of PhD application, especially that referees are not sending letters directly but being uploaded? This is a question for CSC. I don't think we we have the capacity to answer this question, unless someone has experience with something
So
like this. But
from my application we did during my PhD, I think the answer should be yes. In essence, in sense that when you get the scholarship, they will not ask for an official reference directly from your referee. So I'm thinking that's a way of verification. I don't know. What do you guys think? Because that was
did
happened during
did
my
you
time.
did you upload references during your own time during the application
So
form?
during my time, we uploaded in just normally, but when I got scholarship, session now asked my referee to send reference with
Okay,
the letterhead, and they emailed
okay.
them directly, not me.
Okay, okay. Because I know during my own application I didn't upload anything. Then they emailed my
I did
referees
upload.
to. So like it can be either way. But the only
Now,
problem you has the only problem you have is if you have a reference letter that you don't have contact with the referee. So
Oh, yeah.
please try to have references with referees that you can talk to, that you can contact, so that if they need to be
Fine.
verified or if they need to
Yeah.
upload again in future, you are able to do that.
my own comment would just be that except you are trying to play hanky panky, you shouldn't be worried whether they verify
Yeah,
or not. So
we shouldn't want to say that. He didn't want to say it.
yeah.
Francis, thank you
So
for being honest.
send them an honest reference. Keep in touch with your referees. If they need anything from your referees, they contact your referees and the referees verify it for them. So other than that, you shouldn't be worried if they verify.
Alright. And
The
your
PhD
referees
diplomacy.
don't need to be high tech people. You can choose someone simple, simple to be your referee. They don't need to be all those highly placed people if they don't have time for you and if they can't make good recommendations, give you good reference letter. So it's better to have something small that is secure than to have something big that, and the end of the day you end up losing everything.
Okay, so next question. So in essence, as a Nigerian, I can put up two applications, one selecting FSB and another an highly associated network without any consequences, right? PhD applicant. I think going by what Lillian said in the last Q&A, this means you won't have any problem doing this.
Yeah, I did 3 applications. Yes. Next question.
Yeah. So another error on the form for PhD applicants is that current employment is a mandatory field to fill, and the options provided does not include studying, making it difficult for students to fill. Any PhD applicants with any experience here? So a PhD scholar. Sorry, you guys are not applicants. Sorry.
I guess maybe this set of application or portal is having some technical issues that most people are complaining of. Well,
You should email CSC. We're not
Well,
CSC. We're not what. You email them.
yeah,
well,
So,
my comment here would be so I agree the form might be complicated, but let's face it, especially if you're a PhD applicant, you would have been doing something either now or not too long ago. So even if you are studying, I don't know, there would definitely be something you can feel there. Yes, maybe you were employed 6 months ago, now you're not employed. Don't you can't, as you said, if it's mandatory and you can't move on, then feel your last job. Worst case scenario, you backdate it. I don't know, you just make it look like that job is still on at the moment. And at least if you are asked to explain why, you say it was a glitch on their system instead of, because I don't think anybody applying for a PhD would say they've never worked at all. Yeah, it's possible, but not very common. At least even if you worked as a research assistant shortly after your master's before applying for PhD, there's something you can put. So yeah, it might not be your current job, but you should definitely have had some employment that you can put there and don't leave the place blank if it's mandatory. So yeah, it's difficult, but feel something there.
then as a
okay.
PhD student, there is a high chance that you've been helping out masters and BSc students too. So that can be your employment, maybe research assistant or assistant in your laboratory, but just make sure that you're on a good term with your supervisor or someone in charge to be able to write a little recommendation based on what you've been doing on it. So that can also be a job because you can't just be a PhD student and your work is all you are doing. That's what I think too.
Okay. So can we move to the next question? I think we're about to come to the end of this
Yeah,
program.
please. So yeah, we should close here.
Yeah. So I think we'll take two more questions and then we'll try to see if we can answer the other questions either on YouTube or in tomorrow's session. So let's rush through this. Are you expected to have contacted the three supervisors from the universities before submitting your application? PhD. I think I think if you have one, if you have a minimum of one, I think you're good to go. I think that's it. Yeah. Yeah. So if you don't have all three, but you have one, I think you are good to go. Next question. I got an application which is conditional. I must submit an IELTS. I am already registered to take TOEFL, which is also acceptable. Should I still submit the conditional offer letter to CSC or not? Submit it. Submit it. Since you have already registered to take the exam and you already know you're about to submit it, in that box where they say contact you have with university, you can also briefly say that you have this condition and that you are already registered to take it, and you can state when you're taking the exam. You can just provide that information. It doesn't really stop anything, because even people that don't submit any admission also stand a chance to win the scholarship. Yeah, so I think that brings us to the end of today's session. It's been a very long 2 hours, and I want to thank everyone for actively participating. I also want to apologize if we didn't get to your questions, but I think we got most of the questions, yeah, or almost
And we
all
got
of them.
we got all.
Oh, that's wonderful. So we
Yeah.
got all of the questions. So that's very good and in record time. So let me just thank our audience for listening and thank all those that asked the very important and useful questions. I also want to thank each and everyone on the call uh, that have been supplying answers from their wealth of experience and knowledge. Both those that have been sugarcoating the answers and those that have been
Which
giving it
is
very bluntly. So it all makes for a very good interaction. So it's very, very important, and it's very welcome. So I would have said we give closing remarks, but I don't know if we have time for that. So unless the speakers want to say one or two things before we leave, but if not, I would generally say good luck with all your applications. Uh, Try to dot your I's and cross your T's. Make sure that everything you have is in good condition. If you want to join tomorrow's session, you're free. You have a different set of panelists also answering questions, so you can get a different perspective if you feel that you still have questions. So it's not the end. Try to use this weekend to wrap things up. Try to make sure that everything is in good condition. And finally, I would say submit on time. Try as much as possible to avoid the last hour or the last 2 hours or the last 3 hours. If you can finish everything on time, push that submit button is best, so that you don't, because this one we are seeing issues of the form having glitches. Maybe these glitches are coming up because we are close to the submission date. It's possible, and the site is being overloaded. So don't allow a glitch to prevent your application from going through. Try to submit on time. So that's it for today. Thank you, everyone. And we look forward to seeing those of you that will be here with us tomorrow. And for those of you that this might be your last contact with us for now, stay safe and all the best. Thank you and good night.